It was a tough week for the Packers offense in Kansas City, and there's a ton to talk about as we recap that loss to the Chiefs. We'll also preview the upcoming game against the Seahawks and share feedback from all of you. All this and more next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com back with you, and although I'm bummed about the Packers' loss, until we can climb back into that number one seed position in the NFC, remember, we are still at least 3 games in the lead in the NFC North. Can I get a go, Pack, go?
Go, Pack, go. There's my good old Wayne looking at the bright side of life and everything, man. I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider, and to say I'm disappointed would be an understatement, but I'm doing my best to summon my inner Wayne Henderson and try to be as positive as possible after this loss. But I'd be lying if I said that we're easy. This is episode number 238 of your Packers Fan Podcast, and this week we'll do our best to talk about anything good about that loss in the Kansas City Chiefs game, as well as the myriad of things that need to be fixed. We've also got a ton of your awesome voicemails from 920-3PACK-GO by email, as well as other locations.
And then it's time to preview the Packers' return to Lambeau Field to host the Seahawks, and we're also, as always, including Scott's keys to a Packers victory. So with that, let's talk about that game. With the highlights from Jordan Love and the Packers' loss to the Chiefs. For me, the first and most obvious highlight is defense. Defense. Devondre Campbell, again, making himself known all over the field. And Kevin King doing some good things. Glad to see him back.
Yeah, it was really great to see the defense just really stepping forward. I think this is the best game we've seen from them all season. I know that there was 13 points scored still, but that was just an outstanding performance. In fact, they held the Chiefs to 3 and out on their first 2 drives, which was very much needed for us to kind of keep in the game, which we sort of did in the fourth quarter.
Also, keeping an eye on the new injuries to Kenny Clark, Kingsley Keke, and Eric Stokes. They all got banged up a bit. Mm-hmm. But word is they might not be too serious, but let's keep an eye on it just in case.
Absolutely. And I know not a lot of people have any good things to say about Jordan Love, but I got to say, boy, how do I say this without just sounding like a Pollyanna? It's his first NFL start. He was obviously very nervous those first 3 quarters, but by the fourth quarter, things started clicking with him quite a bit. That was a solid drive that led to a score. Unfortunately, it was just a little too late. But if you think about it, if we had hit both of those field goals that were missed by Mason Crosby or by Bortles, whoever you're going to blame for those 2 missed field goals, the game would have been tied. You know what I mean? So this game was a lot closer than it seemed, although the Kansas City just kind of walked all over us defensively.
Yeah, if you would have said a week ago that there's a chance the Chiefs are only going to score 13 points, I would have thought, well, let's, wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah, settle down there. That's not going to happen. But it did. The defense was just extraordinary. I just could not believe how many times they stopped him on third down. And then, now let's see the offense do something. We just couldn't produce anything in those first 3 quarters. And that was kind of depressing. But I don't know. I've got hope for the kid. He's, there's a reason that he was a number 1 draft pick. A lot of people are already ready to ship him out. But, I mean, he did fine once things clicked. This is the first time he's ever actually played it against an opponent that wasn't like a practice squad. You know what I mean? I mean, he's had a couple snaps here and there, but this is his first full game. Things were off a little bit, but he's not an experienced quarterback like Rodgers,
Exactly. And although I didn't write this and where I saw it online isn't attributed, but since it's just the facts, let's go ahead and share it. So Jordan Love's first game of 2021, 19 of 34, 190 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception, and a 69.5 rating. And that's his first game of 2021. Remember, Aaron Rodgers' first game of 2021, he was 15 of 28, 133 yards, 0 TDs, 2 interceptions, and a 36.8 quarterback rating. It's almost like one game doesn't necessarily define a player.
That's a really good point. I mean, Rodgers is the experienced one, and he had half of the quarterback rating that Jordan Love did for this first game. And this was Jordan Love's first NFL game ever, whereas Rodgers is a seasoned veteran. So he did better than Rodgers for a game this year. So
there you go.
Let's wait and see what he does the rest of the season before we hang him up to dry already. That's all I'm saying. We got some lowlights to talk about for sure. The number one thing is the special teams. Holy cow. 2 missed field goals. I mean, everybody kind of disagrees on who to blame on that, but if you do watch, it looked like the ball was not held correctly for either of those kicks. So I have a hard time blaming Mason Crosby for those because they were, especially that second one, it was so wide. Like as soon as it left his foot, you knew it was not going anywhere. It like went to the sideline. It was just crazy. And then on top of that, we had a muffed punt that turned into 3 points for the Chiefs. If you remember that, it touched the returner's foot before bouncing into the end zone where the Chiefs were able to recover it. Thankfully, they didn't give them the 6, which it should have been. It should have been 6 for the Chiefs. It really should have. But because they called it down, they had to call it as it was recovered at that spot. And then, thankfully, the defense was able to step up again in the red zone, mind you, to keep the Chiefs from getting in the end zone and forcing them to only 3 points. So, trying to turn that negative into a positive, but special teams has just been abysmal this year.
That muffed punt was a disaster. I just about lost it at that particular point. But you have the field goals. There's so many pieces to it. Like you said, Mason Crosby, as well as Bojorquez holding, but also the long snapper. I heard that he was a new long snapper for us for this game, or maybe just inexperienced. And I guess when he hikes the ball, it's supposed to go a certain number of rotations before it even gets to Bojorquez. So who knows where the fault is? It's probably a little of everything. And it was breezy that day. So, oh well, it's just one loss. Scott, just one loss.
Just one, yep. And I mispronounced his name. Nice. I said Bojortles. I was confusing him with our third-string quarterback.
Maybe he was in on that play, and that's the one we should look at.
There you go. And then the obvious other lowlights we already talked about a little bit. Jordan Love's debut. You could tell that he had a lack of experience. It showed through in his performance. It just didn't click nearly as well as it does with Rodgers, but that's expected due to a lack of time that he's had with them. They've been so focused on Rodgers, and he just looked incredibly nervous. You could tell it was his first game. He looked like a kid, coming off the college bench. So I feel for him. But it is also worth noting that Packers head coach Matt LaFleur said today that he was, quote, hopeful that David Bakhtiari will be activated by Wednesday's deadline. This is important because if he's not, then he would miss the rest of the season according to league rules. So fingers crossed that he's well enough to be activated because, man, we need him for sure.
I had no idea of that particular deadline. I just thought it was wait and see when he's ready. So if that's true, that if he's not activated by Wednesday, we probably won't see him at all this year. Ouch, 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 because every week I'm looking for him on the field because I know that will improve the offensive line tenfold.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and move on to some listener feedback. As we mentioned at the top of the show, we got lots of voicemails, emails, and whatnot from you guys. But we'll start with the voicemails at 920-3PACK-GO, which, by the way, you can also send your voice messages directly via email to feedback at PackersFanPodcast.com. Please call or send in your feedback right after the Packers-Seahawks game, or at least by 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday night. It would be very much appreciated.
Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! Ooh, I just heard my echo. I yelled that outside. What up, guys? Jared in Colorado. Speechless. I have no speech. Not really. I just wanted to quote Seinfeld for good old Wayne there. No, in all seriousness, here's the thing. Jordan Love played decently better than I thought he would play going into today. And by that I mean, he made the mistakes I expect a rookie quarterback to make, is what he made. And by that I mean, I'm happy that it wasn't worse than that. However, on the other side of things, I feel like he put out a lot of things that I genuinely think the Packers can work with. Now, am I saying that that Lightning is gonna strike for a third time in a row and have ourselves the third Hall of Fame quarterback? No, that's just one game. But lot to work with. Because the things that he was making mistakes on are very coachable. And I do believe in the coaching staff on being able to coach that up. So, all in all, I want to, I'm happy for Love. Jordan Love got some awesome, I would say much needed reps in. And honestly, I don't want to get hung up on the, what if scenario if Rodgers, played today. I'm not even going to touch on, all that, but, I don't really want to go into it too much, but I honestly, personally don't see this game going that differently, had Rodgers been behind center today. Jordan Love had I think I remember the stat at one point, it was 28 dropbacks, multiple sacks, a ton of pressures. I mean, our O-line did not play well. It just didn't. And I don't care how good of a quarterback you are. If your offensive line isn't going to protect you, I don't see any quarterback doing a whole lot of work. And we've seen that. We've seen Aaron Rodgers having tough days, when the O-line just wasn't up to snuff. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Like I said, I don't want to get caught up into the what ifs. And as beyond that, special teams, my God, I still stand by, I'm not saying I'm not going to be championing for a firing, but if Matt LaFleur, for whatever reason, was to decide to do a mid-season special teams coordinator firing, I wouldn't be mad about it. I mean, our special teams is just bad. It's so bad, and I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. That's all I'm going to say about special teams. Defense, though, holy crap. Way to go.
It sounds like Jared's voicemail got cut off by our Google Voice, but he did add that the defense did everything they could to put the Packers in a position to succeed, but the offense and special teams failed to hold up their end of things. He's looking forward to next week at home against Seattle, where hopefully Rodgers will be active once again with Bakhtiari finally back into the swing of things. Jared, thank you so much for your voicemail. Sorry you got cut off there. I do agree with you what you said about Jordan Love. I said it already. I feel like people are ready to just put him to pasture already after one game. But he simply doesn't have the experience. This is his first NFL game. He still has yet to prove himself. And Packers fans have been spoiled for the past 25 years. You know what I mean? We lucked out with, Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers after that. We're not used to going through the quarterback cycle like the Bears have for the past 25 years. So, we may have to swallow that hard pill of we may be going that route. But with that said, Jordan Love still looks like he's got the fundamentals down. I still have hope that he's gonna be solid. I mean, he's basically what we've hung our hat on as a first round draft pick, because we have to assume that Rodgers isn't going to be with us next year. I mean, that's just an assumption. I don't have any inside track or anything like that. I don't know if I agree with Jared that the game would have been completely the same if Rodgers had been there, because number one, Kansas City would not have blitzed nearly as much. They were clearly taking advantage of a rookie quarterback. Well, I mean, he's not a rookie; it's his second year, but a first timer under the center, and taking advantage of his nerves. That was clearly what was happening. If they had done that to Rodgers, Rodgers would have definitely taken advantage of some of those. When you're blitzing, you're leaving a lot of more receivers open, and he would have had more time to do that. So that's my 2 cents there. What do you think, Wayne?
That's a good point. But Aaron Rodgers would still have to overcome the spotty offensive line play and the horrific special teams play. So we may have won that game with Rodgers, but we'll never know. So woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I love the voicemail, Jared. And the Go Pack goes so loud. You were outside and they still echoed. That was cool. But of course, I appreciate the Seinfeld reference. But I don't want to be a pirate.
Boy.
Go Pack, go! It's Jacob from Rockford. Obviously disappointed we lost. I was hoping for some offensive fireworks. Didn't get any, but maybe that was unrealistic expectations. Just Jordan Love's first start looked a little off. They were pressuring him a lot. They knew he was a young QB, trying to make him get the ball out quick, and he was misfiring a lot. But the good news is, though, even if he does have to play next week, he'll have a full week of practice. I think that will be a big difference, getting a little more chemistry with the receivers out there. Hopefully he'll look a little more comfortable. Or if Aaron's back, I think the team looks good. The defense definitely looks to be in form right now. I really enjoyed the defensive performance, actually. Hopefully we can clean up special teams still, because that's still an atrocity. So, looking forward to next week to get back on the right path, start a new streak, hopefully. Hey, everybody. Go Pack, go!
Go Pack, go indeed. Jacob, thank you for your voicemail at 920-3PACK-GO. I also was hoping for offensive fireworks, as was Jordan Love's mom sitting up there in pretty much the last row of this stadium.
How sad was that, by the way? I felt so bad for her. She's like in the nosebleeds.
That's crazy. They got to hook her up with better seats. That's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jacob, Love was pressured a lot, like Scott was talking about a while ago. But I agree. If he does start this week against the Seahawks, he will be more prepared. And
those first game jitters will be under his belt.
Yeah, I know.
Hopefully that will turn into a, discount double check belt by the end of the season.
Whoa, he'll have to come up with his own cool thing for future insurance commercials.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see what's happening out west.
Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! Hey guys, Andre in LA. I know I'm pretty sure the big topic of the day will be, Aaron Rodgers and the vaccination status, him disclosing it. I grew up in a household of judge not lest ye be judged, so I wish things would have worked out differently. With that being said, the team still came out there. We still had a chance to win. The defense, as far as I'm concerned, did a pretty good job. I know Kansas City all year, I was glad that they didn't really they weren't able to blow us out. Unfortunately, our offense could do pretty much nothing throughout the day. Jordan Love, I think this was his first official start at quarterback. Yes, we would have liked him to do more, but it's his first start. I think some context matters. I think a lot of the conversation surrounding today's game is going to be just thrown everywhere. Just remember, hey, this is our team. You win some, you lose some. Let's move on to next week. We'll see what happens. And just, support your team through the good times and the bad. Andre in LA, love you guys. I know it's disappointing because now we're 7-2, but let's just see how the season shapes out. Hopefully this doesn't tear the locker room apart. I don't think it will. And let's just see how everything plays out. Go! Pack! Go! Even in a loss. Love you guys.
Good to hear from you, Andre. Thanks so much for the voicemail. Yeah, the topic of the week or the weekend has been Aaron Rodgers and the vaccination or immunized status. And I got to tell you, I am so annoyed, not by, I'm not really going to take sides on this show. I'm not going to really reveal where I stand, but it just angers me that this is bled into one of my favorite pastimes. Football has been my escape from this world. And now politics has come into it, and it just frustrates me to no end that there's nothing we can do to just get away from this, because nobody's going to agree on anything. This is something that we are so divided on as a country that there's never going to be any resolution to it. So I try to look to things that don't have anything to do with that, and then it creeps up into my football. I get angry. So
yeah, the next thing you know, you're going to be opening up Madden 2022, and they're going to have something about vaccinations before you play. I agree. It'd be nice if it wasn't in there at all. And then, of course, I don't think I'm ever going to watch the stupid pregame shows again, especially the one on Fox. They devoted like 5 whole minutes or more in the pregame show as a bunch of media puppets just lambasting Aaron Rodgers one after the other, saying that this is the news story in the NFL of the week, and yet not even touching on the fact that a team out here in the West had a player who got wasted, drove 150-something miles an hour, crashed his car, and killed a woman and her dog.
Yeah. but that was barely touched on. So,
so it's just
again,
crazy.
I have my own feelings on the whole situation. Won't disclose them here, but I will say I'm still disappointed in Aaron Rodgers, not because of the not being vaccinated, but the way that he misled people. I will say, the team obviously probably knew, but he pulled this whole I didn't lie. I said this, which was true, but he led people to believe something else, and that's what bothers me. So that's all I will say about that. But I am with Andre and glad that they didn't blow us out. I really was worried it was going to be a blowout. Not only a shutout, but I thought they were going to rack up way more points than they actually did. And like you said, it's time for us to just move past this week and look on to next week, because the second half of the season has officially started. We still got a lot of football to go. Yeah.
And Andre, again, great call. Context matters. And like you said, the Packers are our team.
Hello, gentlemen. Scott, Wayne, Mark from New Lisbon. And yes, Scott, New Lisbon is in Wisconsin. We're over by the Dells. It was a tough loss. I mean, you knew going into Kansas City and with Aaron Rodgers it would have been tough, but now we know with Rodgers we clearly would have won, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. I want to give kudos to Joe Barry and the defense. I mean, guys, they were missing Clark, Alexander, Stokes, and V. Smith, Za'Darius. And they did so well. I was thinking they got to score a touchdown for us to win, and King almost had that pick. But kudos to the defense. When they get everybody back, man, they're going to be a very tough defense. I felt like Devontae and Jordan Love just didn't have that chemistry. They just didn't have enough time this week to develop it. But I think Jordan Love showed some signs. And I kind of want to give a big hug to Mason Crosby because he's one of my favorite Packers of all time. He had a rough day, but we're still going to support him. I'm just disappointed how many Packer fans are so mentally weak. They have to go on social media and lash out at a 22-year-old playing the toughest position in all of sports. It's just disappointing. I don't even respond to it because it's just so negative. We don't need it. I'm also disappointed in Rodgers because I think he handled the whole situation poorly. He really owed the fans and the organization and his teammates an apology. Instead, he doubled down and played a victim and never really apologized for how he handled this whole situation with COVID. So hopefully, he'll come around, and I guess he's eligible to be back after 10 days on Saturday. So that'll be interesting to see if he even plays against Seattle. But then it's such a big game next week. We've got to beat the Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson is scheduled to be back. So we really have to bounce back. I mean, when you think of the high after the Arizona game and then all the drama with Rodgers and then this game, it's really important that we bounce back. But I have faith that we will. And thanks for taking my call. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go to you as well, Mark. Thank you so very much for giving us a call. And Scott, New Lisbon, that's in Wisconsin. Just so you know. It's over by the Dells, I hear.
That's what he said. That's not too far from me, about an hour and a half from me.
Oh, that's easy peasy. So good to hear from you, Mark. Yes, kudos to Joe Barry, who everybody was trashing on the first week or two of the season. Now he's getting kudos because look at the defense. And if we get more healthy guys back and we keep improving, wow, we are going to be there. And I agree, Mark. Hugs for Mason Crosby because I don't think there was anything he could really do other than try to do what he does. And all those other things kind of fell into place that made it impossible to do his job. And yeah, it did seem like Devontae and Jordan Love just didn't have the chemistry yet. I think Devontae was running his fabulous routes at the same speed and in the same manner that he always does. And Jordan Love just didn't hit the marks. But good point about some of the so-called Packers fans on social media that were just saying terrible things to Jordan Love and about Jordan Love after the game. It's like, I always thought Packer fandom was better than that.
I agree. It's kind of sad to see that. I mean, where were those comments week one? Like we mentioned earlier, when Rodgers did even more poorly than that, or Rodgers' first game as a Packer. You know what I mean? Everybody's first game wasn't, I guess Favre's first game was pretty outstanding when they came back and beat the Bengals, I suppose, to come back and win that game. But that's not going to be everybody. Not everybody's going to be a legend right out the gate. Most players need time to get absorbed into that team and build that camaraderie with the rest of the team. This team has been playing with the same quarterback for 15 seasons? You know what I mean? They're not used to him yet. So it's not all his fault. And like you said, we're better than that.
Heck, I even saw some people saying we need to cut him immediately, or at least at the end of the season. Let him go. And in fact, we should cut Mason Crosby too. I'm like, oh, come on, people.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your cheesehead from Indy, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow. Go, Pack, go. Yes, that was a loss. Yes, this is not a victory Monday. But I think we saw a lot yesterday to be real happy for. And some maybe not so happy for. Let's start with that. Me, personally, that Jordan Love guy, not bad. Pretty good. First start in the NFL on a short week for him. He only had one practice, I heard them say on TV. So the fact that he only had one practice with the one's pretty good. But the only thing that worries me is all of his passes seem to be behind the wide receivers. They always had to turn back towards the quarterback instead of having a full run as they ran their route. And the one pass that he didn't throw behind was that interception that Devontae Adams was overthrown on. Also, he's still kicking that ball good. Bojorquez, but man, you got one job when you're sitting kneeling on that ground. Catch the ball and spin it. Laces out, Dan. I just don't understand how he's been in the NFL this long and he can't figure out how to spin a football. It's not rocket science. But that defense, holy cow, lights out. As always, it's been, at least in the last few weeks, they've been playing lights out. And they're just getting better and better, and I think they're going to continue to get better. And they need to, because looks like they're going to have to carry the offense for a little while, because we don't even know if number 12 is coming back next week. He's only eligible to come back the day before the Seattle game. So who knows what Matt LaFleur is going to choose to do, which quarterback he's going to go with. I still think he needs to go with 12. 12 don't need the practice. He's seen Seattle enough times to know what's going on. That's my thoughts. Thanks for the podcast again, guys. You guys are awesome. Love listening to the show, and always love listening to the listener feedback. Go, 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 Pack, go!
Thank you, Dan, for the voicemail. I'm glad to hear some people saying some positive things about Jordan Love, even if those positive things are not bad. Pretty good for a short week. And like you said, he only had one practice. It's not like he had the entire week, because this news didn't come out till midweek. So, even Rodgers would have gotten a full week of practice if he were playing. So, for being in the position that he was put in, he didn't do as bad as everyone is claiming he did. Yeah, and the comments about Bojorquez, I obviously thought of Ace Ventura as well. When I saw those laces pointed inward, I was like, laces out. And as soon as that happened, I knew it was going to miss, just for that reason. But yeah, what else can be said about the defense than that hasn't already? So hopefully that returns, because we're going to need that. As good as the defense isn't scoring points for us. Our offense needs to score points if we're going to win these games.
Wayne Scott, Art from Texas. Man, I feel for our defense. They fought and did a great job. Our offense, well, the situation. I guess I'm going to be one of those that I'm going to give Jordan Love the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it is his first game as a starter. I can imagine it's tough. I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers lit it up when he first got thrown in there as a starter, but not everybody's got the same skill set. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I guess as Packers fans, we have a little more sense of urgency, because now is not when we want the victories now, but we'll see. We'll get Aaron Rodgers back, hopefully, this coming weekend. and keep on talking up some wins. And guys, I think we have a really, really good chance at the Super Bowl. The Cardinals can be beat. That was obvious. The Rams lost. The Cowboys lost. The Buccaneers lost. If all our guys come back healthy from the defense and the offense keeps on, hitting on all cylinders, there's a very, very good chance. I mean, we're up there, a Super Bowl contender. Let's take it from here on out. Green and gold, tempted and cold.
So good to hear from you, Art. Thank you so much for your call. Always good to hear from you. Feels for our defense. I agree, Art. They fought so hard, and the offense and special teams just couldn't do the same this week. So the defense tried. They did what they could, and the benefit of the doubt for Jordan Love, yeah, what else can you say? My favorite part, though, we really do have a good chance at the Super Bowl. What do you think, Scott? I think Art's onto something.
It depends on the health of our team, for sure, because we have been banged up quite a bit with injuries. If we're healthy, I would agree with him, yes. If Rodgers is playing, yes, I think it's definitely possible. The defense would have to win it for us, for sure, because they're just on fire. But, yeah, I love the positivity from you, Art. Thanks so much.
Excellent. Looking forward to hearing from you after we beat the Seahawks this weekend. And that leads us to our weekly poll that we put in our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter at Packers Fan Pod. If AR-12 does end up getting cleared to come back, even if it's just a day before the Hawks versus Packers game, should Aaron Rodgers be the starting quarterback with no practice? Your options were and are definitely yes, probably if he feels 100%, or no. What do you think, Scott, before we see how the voters went?
Oh, boy, man, this is a tough question. For me, if it comes down to straight his health and for the best thing for the team, yes, he should play. Definitely he should play if he's healthy, if he's 100%. Only if he's 100%. I've not had COVID, so I don't know what it feels like. I can tell you from having the vaccine, the second one knocked me out and made me very, very fatigued for multiple days. So if there's any of that, then that's a concern for his health for the rest of the season as well, not just for winning this game. But I honestly think that this comes down to something that we can't really see as fans, and that is how the rest of the team feels about what's happened this past week. Because the things that he's done, like one of our other voicemail callers came in, could have been taken as disrespect towards the team and towards the fans. I kind of want to know what's on in their heads before I could really say this for sure. Because on one hand, it feels like he lets the team down, but we also don't know the status of what went down. Because to be clear, you do not have to be vaccinated in order to play in the NFL. So it's not like you have to. However, if you are unvaccinated, there are certain protocols you have to follow. And the question right now is whether or not he followed those protocols. If he didn't, then that's kind of some disrespect to your teammates. So, but we don't know that. So I think it was Andre that said, "Judge not, lest you be judged yourself." That's kind of in the boat I am on that regard. He's not required to be vaccinated, but if you're not, you got to follow the rules. If you don't follow the rules, then you're being disrespectful to your team. So that's a long-winded answer, Wayne, and that's probably a lot more than you expected, but I feel like I can't answer it honestly until I have all the facts. How about you?
That sounds fair enough, and I appreciate your answer, and I couldn't say it better. I'm going to go with probably, if he feels 100%, because, what if it's late Saturday night that, okay, you can go in 12 hours or whatever. We'll have to wait and see. But the votes came in, 83% said definitely yes, 13% said probably if he feels 100%, and 4% said no.
Interesting. Well, let's look at some of the comments on the poll. First off, on Twitter, at Narumiyakira on Twitter said, and this is translated from Japanese, believe it or not, it said, even if he's mildly ill, I think there's a lot of fatigue after Corona. Can he really demonstrate his performance without practicing on the field? It's not really that easy to be a professional, is it? And I thought that was first off, it was awesome to find out that we've got a listener or follower in Japan. That was really cool. So thank you so much for that. Also, Peter A. in the Packers Fan Facebook group said, yes, doesn't matter if he has practiced or not. A player of his caliber just needs mental preparation. He can read the game plan and be set to play as he already has his chemistry with the offense, knows timings on routes with players, etc. How do you feel about that, Wayne?
That's a good point. Excellent point from Peter A. Also in the Facebook group, Peter J. said he will start if he clears the protocol. If he doesn't, then the coaching staff needs to do a better job being able to deal with the multiple blitz packages they will see and continue to see until we stop them. And Bill says Love is not ready to start in the NFL. If Rodgers can't play for some reason, play Blake Bortles if needed. There's a twist.
I don't agree with that. I mean, Blake Bortles has more experience, but Love needs to get the experience. You know what I mean? I understand that we really want to win this season. I'd love for Rodgers to, win this season. But, we have to look to the future as well, too. And if Jordan Love is our future, he's got to get the experience to get to anywhere near Rodgers' level. Well, thank you for all those messages there. You too can join the Facebook group, join in the conversations, and let your voice be heard. I encourage you to do so. And speaking of letting your voices be heard, we've got some emails, starting with Brett in the UK. Hey, Wayne and Scott, a quick message with my thoughts on Sunday's game. Where there are negatives, there must be positives. Negatives, special teams. Wow. Where to begin? Terrible, just not good enough. That is all positives. Or that is all. Positives, defense. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we have a defense. They stepped up and made some great stops. Chris Barnes had a game. That's true. He was all over that field. Holy cow. Hoping the injury to Eric Stokes pregame isn't too bad and we see him back soon. I just want to show some love to Jordan Love as well. First game in the league, filling very big boots. I think the Packers have been so blessed to have greatness at quarterback for 20 plus years that some fans expected J10 to step right in and look the part. I didn't think he looked that bad, especially towards the end of the game. Found a rhythm just too little too late. Chiefs bringing that blitz on how many occasions? Fun fact, it was about half.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So much pressure that Love didn't even have time to set his feet and look downfield, while some of his throws were not on the same page as the receivers, and I think we can all agree that sort of chemistry takes time. And there were some good throws and decisions made by him during the game. I don't think the future is that bleak. I mean, look at J10's stats compared to Mahomes for that game. I just hope we can keep hold of AR12 for at least another season or two so Love can continue to learn from greatness. Anyway, great show, guys. Keep up the great work. We're still in a great position in the NFC, so I'm not too worried. Look forward to hopefully having Aaron back next week. So until then, go Pack Go.
I like that. And I like J10.
J10, AR12 and J10.
Hey, this is coming together, Brett. This is coming together. Also, hello, Wayne and Scott. This is CCR from Titletown, USA. First off, love to say it's an honor always listening to the podcast. And it's very kind of you to say, Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher. We appreciate that. Secondly, boy, what a horrific game we had against the Chiefs. Although we scored one touchdown, there were so many blown plays that could have been positive, especially Mason Crosby missing those 2 field goals. Mm-hmm. But we honestly think Jordan Love had a great game no matter what the outcome, considering, and hopefully we can bounce back. And no matter what, this is CCR saying, go Pack Go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold.
Quite the positive emails this week, man, and voicemails for that matter. I was not expecting that positivity, but
until now.
Yeah, there you go. So this next email, Wayne Henderson and Scott Clark, a very angry Stephen Verheeren checking in from Palace Park where the Green Bay Packers decided to play garbage football. By the way, that was in all caps, as is this paragraph. The Packers lose, and it is Aaron Rodgers' fault. The Packers should have been able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs if Aaron Rodgers would have been able to play. I am sick of overtime games, as in Chicago, just before the Packers game was the Minnesota Vikings and Baltimore Ravens game, and the game went to overtime because the Vikings tied up the game. Yes, I don't know about you, Wayne, but I was not able to see the opening drive from the Packers. Not that I wanted to, apparently, because the Minnesota game bled over. And the announcers assured us that, we're going to cut to the game of the week, but no, we had to see the end of that game.
Yeah, it's same here. And even on my son's Sunday NFL ticket, because it's a local game, it's blacked out on NFL Sunday Ticket, so we just had to watch the purple ones versus the purple ones, and luckily the good purple ones won.
The good purple ones. Steven's email goes on to say the Seahawks-Packers game will be on CBS, which here in the Chicago area, that game will follow the Cleveland Browns and New England Patriots game, which, please, no more overtime games. The good news is the Packers have never lost 2 games in a row under Matt LaFleur. The Packers need to get Aaron Rodgers back and not play Jordan Love again or face another loss. And the Seattle Seahawks are 3-5 in the season, so there is no good reason why the Packers can't beat them. Okay, I'm going to check out for now, but can't wait for the podcast and hopefully better results next week. Stephen Verheeren. Thank you so much, Stephen, and thank you to everybody for all of your calls, emails, comments, and support. Remember that you too can join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversations at packerscommunity.com.
And now, no matter who's going to be at quarterback this week, your 7-2 Green Bay Packers are home at Lambeau to host the 3-5 Seattle Seahawks Sunday, November 14th. Again, 3:25 p.m. Central Time. The Packers lead the series all-time 14-9. And the history between these two teams, you know well. It includes some crazy moments and at least one big asterisk. Can you say replacement refs and fail Mary?
Oh, my goodness, Wayne. I remember exactly where I was when I was watching that game. I was at my brother's house, and we were both watching that going, oh, that's going to get called back. No worries. And then they made that call, and we both stood up and pointed at the screen with both hands, palms up, just going, what just happened? It was just absolutely ridiculous.
And that is the game and the play that pretty much got the regular refs their jobs back and their issues settled because there was no more of that replacement ref nonsense. But I do know one way to make you smile. Imagine a Seattle Seahawks quarterback saying, we want the ball and we're going to score.
I also watched that game at my brother's house and laughed out loud when that happened because he looked like a little kid when he said it.
Yeah,
that was Hasselbeck, wasn't it?
That was Matt Hasselbeck, former Brett Favre backup. And, we wanted him to do well, just not in that game. But saying that, going into overtime and throws the ball right to Al Harris for the pick six. Packers win. Go Pack, go. And former Super Bowl winning Packers coach, already in the Packers Hall of Fame, Mike Holmgren was added to the Seattle Seahawks Ring of Honor this past week. So
nice.
Mike Holmgren doing great things for both squads.
We had a pretty memorable game last year as well against the Seahawks, January 12th, 2020. In a fun fact, the Packers have never trailed in a divisional round game against the Seahawks, but this game was pretty close and wound up being very stressful. The Packers had a 28-10 lead, then they lost it. They still were leading, but Seattle scored, wound up having to punt, hoping for a stop in the fourth quarter. Rodgers then connected with Adams on third down for 32 yards, then Jimmy Graham for 9 yards on third down, and that play was just barely over the first down marker, and the Packers were able to kneel on the ball, run out the clock, and win that game. So that was a pretty exciting game for sure.
Yeah, January 2020. That was right before the whole pandemic and everything went to heck in a handbasket.
Mm-hmm.
But great memory. So at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin this week, it's supposed to be cool and cloudy. There's a chance maybe of some rain, but it should be about 40 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff, which is about 4 Brett Favre degrees Celsius. So would that be considered bundle up in your book? Or is that still balmy to you?
Oh, dude, I am so cold-blooded. I'm bundling it up even at 60 degrees. So, yeah, definitely bundle up.
Okay.
Well, moving on. My keys to a Packers victory over the Seahawks. First off, number one, whatever the defense had for dinner before facing the Chiefs, please go for seconds. This was the best showing of our defense all season, hands down. If our offense can't produce as well without Aaron Rodgers, we still don't know for sure if he'll play. We need to give Jordan Love as much of a chance to not have to play catch up. It's his only shot mentally, because when you're a young quarterback and you're down by multiple scores, it makes a really tough uphill battle inside your head. Secondly, that offensive line needs to step up. Again, we don't know if Bakhtiari is going to be back. Fingers crossed he is. But if Jordan Love plays, the Packers should expect a ton of blitzing, just like we saw from Kansas City. It's a solid strategy to exploit a young quarterback, and I don't fault either team for doing it, but our offensive front needs to be prepared for it just as often this game. And the secondary needs to take advantage of these blitzes for quick, short passes up the middle where there's less coverage. They've seen this strategy in action and should be more prepared for it now, and now is time to take advantage of it instead of letting it beat them down. Lastly, and most importantly, we as fans and even everybody in the office there needs to rally behind whomever is under center. We all have our feelings about Rodgers, and we all have our feelings about Love, but the players and fans need to set aside any political differences and support whomever is leading this team. Remember that football is supposed to be our escape from the ugliness of this world. We as fans shouldn't let this stupid drama get in the middle of what makes this sport so important to us. It's something that brings us together each week and has us not focus on what's dividing the rest of the world. As far as I'm concerned, football is football and no place for politics. And even though we're all pretty much split on how we feel about what's happened, we were Packers fans united first. And the team needs us united so that they could be united on the field. Otherwise, it's going to be a long second half of the season. So go Pack, go.
Preach it, Scott Clark. Well done and well said. Thank you for that. Greatly appreciated. So we both picked the Packers to win last week, and neither of us were correct on that front.
Yeah, so no points transferring hands this week, but if there were points being transferred, I would have taken it because my differential was only 28 points to your 32. I said Packers 27-21. You said Packers 28-24. And it wound up being Chiefs 13-7. So we both were severely off in our predictions. Now, I'm going to say, Wayne, I almost feel like we're going to make our predictions for Seattle, right? But I feel like my predictions for Seattle would be so drastically different depending on who's playing at the quarterback position. So I'm kind of making my pick based on if Jordan Love is under center. I don't know about you, but I'm going to say Packers 14, Seahawks 10. Packers will still come out with a victory.
Well, I do like that you picked the Packers to have a victory. That's a pretty low-scoring game, but a win is a win is a win, like we've said before. I'm going to go with a few more points, no matter who's at quarterback. Seahawks 17, Packers 21.
All right, we'll make for an interesting week, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to kick myself if they announce that Rodgers is going to be able to play, because I think it's going to be a different score for sure.
I thought you were about to say you were going to kick yourself if they announced Favre was starting.
I started to say, that F was there for sure.
Or Bortles. Who knows? Anything could happen. But so in our 2021 season Wager-O Fund, I've got 5 victories. Scott has 2, and we'll see what happens this week. In the NFC North, it is so good to see your Packers at 7-2 with the Vikings all the way down at 3-5. And the Bears, who just kicked off about 5 minutes ago, they are currently 3-5, and if the Steelers pull through and beat them down, we'll have a 4-game lead in the NFC North.
Mm-hmm. That would feel pretty good.
The Lions, who are on their bye week this past week, are 0-8, and, well, if they don't win this coming week, they've officially got a losing record again. Sorry, Lions, sorry. So the teams on their bye week this coming week, number 10, the Bears, the Bengals, the Texans, and the Giants. And aside from the Bengals, it'll be good to not have to see these other teams on TV this week. Can I get an amen?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's been fun watching the Bengals, though. Like you said, I'm liking that team a lot. They're doing some great things.
Yes.
Also, David Newman from our community pointed out and wanted me to share on the show that history was made during the Jacksonville-Buffalo game on Sunday. This is the first time in NFL history, at least since the NFL started recording sacks in 1982, that a quarterback was sacked by a defensive lineman by the same name. Yes, Josh Allen sacked Josh Allen.
Nice.
Not only that, but Josh Allen also intercepted Josh Allen and recovered a fumble by You guessed it, Josh Allen, all in the same game. That is a crazy stat that will probably never be repeated ever again in the history of NFL.
That is bonkers, Scott. That is absolutely crazy. And I think that explains how I ended up with the wrong Josh Allen quarterbacking my fantasy team this week and bringing me down.
Pretty much. Also, Odell Beckham Jr. has officially been released by the Browns and is on waivers. So he can be claimed by anybody, but there's a $7.25 million amount remaining on his contract. So there's that to deal with. But if he goes unclaimed, he would be a free agent. Now, with as many targets in the Packers secondary right now, do you think this is a player the front office should be pursuing, Wayne?
Hell no.
No. Okay. Too much drama?
Too much drama. I mean, obviously, Odell Beckham has a ton of talent, but things just didn't even work out with the Browns, and he had a better shot there. He's just too much of a diva. And if his dad's going to be posting videos from the game saying, here's where my son was open and nobody threw to him, here's another spot where my son was open. Well, guess what would happen if he's on the Green Bay Packers where we have like 9 other receivers that Aaron Rodgers loves to spread the ball around to? Yeah, we don't need more of those videos going. So, no. Were you thinking maybe if we can find a way to contain him? And
I'm going to say no, but not for the same reason. I just think that we've got plenty of targets right now, as long as they're healthy. That's going to be the issue. But I think the price tag is a little much too. Maybe if he goes to free agency, that's something to consider. But paying a premium for a guy that didn't work out on a pretty good-looking Browns team right now, if it's not going to work out there, I'd say not deal with the drama. But that's me.
And obviously, somebody is going to pick Odell Beckham up. Hopefully, it's somebody in the AFC, so we don't have to meet them in the playoffs.
Right.
You got to look at these things, Scott. You got to look at these things. My Don't Blink Doctor Who podcast is back, baby. It's hard to believe this new mini season of Doctor Who is already 30% done. Those short British seasons, they get shorter every year. We are podcasting about Doctor Who. Details on my Don't Blink podcast can strategically be found at don'tblinkpodcast.com. You got another show, too, as well, I've heard rumblings of.
I do. It's called The Gaming Outsider, where I talk about my favorite hobby, which is video games. And this week we're discussing our favorite lines from video games, a topic usually reserved for movies. But believe me, there are tons of memorable one-liners of dialogue from games, and we're going to be discussing our favorites along with our listeners. If you'd like to check out that show, it can be listened to at the same place you listen to this fine show or on our website, thegamingoutsider.com.
I've got my favorite line from a video game. It was a little bit like, Pika, Pika.
Pika. Yeah.
Pika.
Saw that coming. And we value how you value value. Try saying that fast 10 times. But Patreon is the place where you can help financially support your Packers Fan Podcast if it's in your budget to do so. Details can be found at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast. At the Jim Ringo Patreon level, mighty Go Pack Goes and thank yous to Mr. Dan Dyler. At the legendary Willie Wood support level, Go Pack Goes and thank you to Bryant. And supporting at the Aaron Rodgers Patreon level, Jay Walters, thank you so much, and Go Pack Go to you as well.
And investing in the Packers Fan Podcast at the Brett Favre inspired level, even if he's not officially out of retirement to play for us this coming week one more time. Thank yous and Go Pack Goes to Colin Nolan in Ireland, Scott Boers, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, Jeff Summerfield, Andre in LA, and Lawrence Harvey. And more Go Pack Goes and thank yous going out to the Curly Lambeau inspired patrons, Hank Davis from the TPE Network, Matt Haig, Beth Mentick, and Joe Christensen. Thank you all for your support. We greatly appreciate it. And we invite you to check out the details on how you can help out at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast.
As a reminder, we are the unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. But please follow the Packers Fan Podcast where you listen to your podcast and tell a friend. It helps us get the word out there about what we do, and we would love to get in the ears of more Packers fans.
And at the same time, you can even follow us on Twitter at Packers Fan Pod. Scott, you're still at GoCastScott, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I'm at Wayne Henderson. And to help get the Packers turned around, And back on a winning streak, it's Patreon supporter Dan Dyler.
Hey, Packers Fan Podcast listeners. This is your cheesehead from Indianapolis, Dan. And I have just two words for you. Go, 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 Pack, go!